All right, joining us now is Rebecca Koffler from New York City. She is the author of the book Putin's Playbook, Russia's Secret Plan to Defeat America. She is a specialist in defense intelligence. All right, so am I unfair to Biden here? Am I overstating this Iran thing?
You're 100% on target, Bill. It is absurd. The type of policy that Team Biden is pursuing is not only absurd and incompetent, it severely undermines U.S. national security. How so? You correctly pointed out that Iran is running a nuclear program. Well, where does all this money go to, whether it's the 6 billion that Biden unfroze last year for them, or this recent unfreezing, so to speak? It is financing Iran's war machine. And Iran's war machine is basically an asymmetric warfare type of machine. What do I mean by that? Iran is running a broad network of proxy terrorist groups that includes Hamas, Hezbollah, the Houthis, and Iranians are training and equipping and funding these groups that eventually and even currently they pose a threat both to the United States and to the world.
Right, Hezbollah, Hamas, and all that.
Exactly.
But we comb to find some explanation from Secretary of State Blinken or National Security Advisor Sullivan or Kamala Harris or Joe Biden. Nothing. No explanation whatsoever. Have you, in your research, did they ever explain why they're $100 billion they're handing it to the mullahs? Did they ever explain it?
My intelligence analysis suggests that the Biden administration is compromised by Iranian operatives. Remember, there's such an initiative, the so-called Iranian Expert Initiative, that basically was working with high-level positions across the Biden administration. Robert Amali, who was Biden's special envoy for Iran, right? His security clearance was suspended along with security clearances of some other operatives. There's an individual still in the Department of Defense, and those I would even call them assets. They're foreign intelligence assets because they are corresponding directly with Iranian foreign ministry officials. So that is my primary hypothesis. My secondary hypothesis is the 10% for the big guy. I just never trust.
Yeah, but we don't want to make you got unless you have some backup for that. I don't want to do that. I mean, we're fact based, but there's something shady going on.
There's something shady going on.
Right. Okay, let's go to Ukraine. So Biden basically, it took him a while, but under pressure. He sent an enormous amount of U.S. money over there, military aid and humanitarian aid, and got nowhere with Putin at all. Is that an accurate statement? Putin, nothing. You didn't get any kind of dialogue with him, no concessions, and it looks like Trump is going to get some kind of deal. But again, that's not a fact. I've talked to the president myself about it, so I can say with confidence that he believes he'll get a deal. Whether he does or not, I don't know. But Biden got nowhere. Am I right?
Correct. Not only Biden hasn't gotten anywhere, it is on Biden's watch that 500,000 of Ukrainians are dead or gravely wounded. 50% of Ukrainians' infrastructure, critical infrastructure, is destroyed right now, which means that this winter they're going to be freezing in darkness. And that is because this war was never winnable for Ukraine. How so? From the combat potential standpoint, Combat potential is calculated by a combination of weapon systems, armed forces, the defense industrial base's capacity to scale up, and defense economics. Russia just overmatches Ukraine hands down. It always has.
I know, but
There's
we
a
had
reason.
to we had to stop Putin, and we inflicted tremendous pain on Putin. Not only us, but NATO and all. You just can't let him just run roughshod over these countries. But I have one more
Not what I'm
question for you.
suggesting.
If a stronger leader, I don't think Putin, and Trump says this all the time, and I think he's right. Putin would have not done that if Trump were the president, because Trump would have really hurt Putin much more so than Biden did. All right, so Sullivan is over in the Middle East, desperately trying to get the hostages released from Hamas's control before Biden leaves office. That is priority number one. So Biden's going out a loser, but he wants to have one victory before he goes. Do you believe that that will happen, the release of the hostages?
Well, we know that Prime Minister Netanyahu and Israel's defense minister are working very, very hard on making that deal. The problem is that Hamas is like playing games as usual, and Hamas does not want to release nearly the number of hostages that they're holding. Right now, there's still about 100 hostages that they're holding. So it's going to depend. We need to let the Israelis do their job and not micromanage the war, as Biden has been doing, calling for ceasefire, this and that.
Well,
And
that's not
the
going to happen. But
pressure,
I
the more
understand from reliable sources that a lot of the hostages are dead. It's not, the number isn't close to 100 now. A lot of them have died. But again, it's Iran that could make it happen. So Iran tells Hamas, release those hostages, or we're cutting you off from everything. Hamas would have to do it. They're like gangs. Last word.
Well, if you want to put pressure on Hamas, unfreezing billions of dollars is not the right
That's not the way to do it. That's for sure.
Leverage. You need to gain leverage over them.
It's just, I'm a historian, as you know. I have never seen stuff like this in my lifetime. And, I go back to George Washington as far as our research is concerned. No, never seen anything like this. Rebecca, thanks very much. The Butch again is Putin's Playbook. And if you're interested in foreign affairs, that's a good read. Okay, drone madness update. Don't have much for you, and this is another insane thing. I mean, to me, I don't know anything about drones. I can barely put gas in my car. But if I'm the governor or I'm the head of Homeland Security, I just shoot them down, and then I get them and I look at them and say, who owns them? They can find out. Just blast them out of the sky or get a big net or whatever they do. All right? Well, we don't know. We don't know. How long is this going to go on? You don't know. Governor of Jersey doesn't know. Governor of New York doesn't know. Mayorkas doesn't know. Oh, we don't know. It shows you the incompetence. The incompetence. It's just incompetent. They won't tell us what it is. They got to know something. They just don't appear. Somebody shoots them up there. Find them out who. Is that hard? It doesn't seem to be hard. But I don't have anything hard news for you. We're watching it. Speculation is stupid. I know they do it on a cable show. Well, it could be that. It could be. We don't do that. Not going to waste your time. Madonna, talk about a waste of time. Madonna is top of the list, cultural madness. So on Friday, she puts out pictures, and they're very offensive. So if you're easily offended, you don't want to, just turn away. I'm only going to keep them up there for 5 seconds. All right? But this is Madonna, the singer-entertainer. Throw the pictures up there. And they show the Pope and her. This is AI. All right, take them off. All right, so this is a provocative thing because the woman is desperate for attention. That's what. She wants attention. Puts it out on the internet. Following media picked it up. New York Post, Us Weekly, Independent, Mirror, TMZ, Daily Mail, Times of India, The Sun, Newsweek, Premier Christian News, I'm sure they criticized it, Economic Times, and they picked it up. Okay, so if Madonna had done that with an imam, a fatwa would have been issued, and her life would be in danger. If she had done that with a rabbi, a rebbe, she'd been anti-Semitic. If she had taken any minority group and done that, she would never work again in the entertainment industry. But she can mock the Pope and she can be sacrilegious to Christians, nothing will happen to her. But don't forget it. I won't. President Trump's victory is a win for America. That's what most voters think. But Bidenomics has left us with a failing economy. I rely on American Hartford Gold to protect my savings with physical gold and silver, and you should consider that. American Hartford Gold has thousands of five-star ratings and an A+ from the Better Business Bureau. A tax-advantaged gold IRA can shield you from worsening inflation. You can even roll over your 401k or IRA tax-free and penalty-free. So act now before it's too late. Call or text American Hartford Gold. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you for up to $15,000 of free silver on qualifying orders. Call 866-501-5201 or text BILL to 65532. That's 866-501-5201 or text BILL to 65532. Secretary of State Blinken finally shows up to the House Foreign Affairs Committee because if he didn't, he was going to be held in contempt of Congress. They wanted to grill him on the embarrassment of the surrender in Afghanistan, which has led to all kinds of horror for the United States all over the world as Biden showed weakness. Here's what a portion of what Blinken said. Go.
Even the U.S. government's most pessimistic assessments did not anticipate that the Afghan government and security forces would collapse so rapidly in the face of Taliban advances. Nevertheless, because of the administration's extensive interagency planning and coordination, when Kabul fell on August 15th, the United States was able to evacuate our embassy and relocate our diplomats to the airport within 48 hours, and then conduct the largest airlift in U.S. history, helping approximately 120,000 Americans, Afghans, and citizens of allied nations depart Afghanistan in just 2 weeks.
What a bunch of bull. I mean, everybody remembers the pictures of the people hanging off the planes. You know, some of them died, of the 18 U.S. military people who were killed. It was a 13 or 18. Everybody remembers, and that didn't have to happen. So Donald Trump had a deal with the Taliban. And the deal was, you don't shoot at Americans, and we won't shoot at you. 18 months. We had our strength in Bagram Air Base, where I spent some time. I know the turf. There was no threat to Bagram by the Taliban. They couldn't do anything because we had our air power, helicopter power, way more than the Taliban had. But when Biden signaled that he was going to surrender to the Taliban, which is what he did, the president of Afghanistan bolted out of there with all kinds of money. Okay? And that sent the signal to the Afghan army, we better get out of our uniform or we're going to be executed. And that's what happened. Biden caused that. The Taliban were not going to overrun U.S. forces. Now, we had to get out of there. Trump knew we had to get out of there, but you do it in an orderly way. And I never would have given up Bagram, ever. That would have remained in U.S. hands to make sure that there were no atrocities by the Taliban. And that would have been it. That's the deal. You don't like it? Too bad. We weren't losing anybody. As I said, Trump had a deal in place, 18 months, no U.S. casualties. And Biden comes in and goes, we give up, goodbye, and then all hell breaks loose. And this is Blinken, oh, where did this, where did I? And you'll remember the worst ever was Biden in one of his few comments about this going, oh, no, it was excellent. No, we did a great job. Billions of dollars of American armaments went to the terrorist Taliban. Billions. Yeah, that's great. And that's why Biden go down in history as the second worst president ever. Don't believe me? Just pick up Confronting the Presidents. I back it up 50 ways. Okay. What else have we got for you tonight? Media madness. Unbelievable. Media. Okay, New York Times finally reports accurately on the illegal immigration catastrophe. Finally. Now, they had this story. They could have reported it last year. What did they report yesterday? All right, quote, annual net migration, the number of people coming to the country minus the number leaving, averaged 2.4 million people from 21 to 23, according to the Congressional Budget Office. Total net migration during the Biden administration now likely to exceed 8 million people. That's a faster pace of arrivals than during any other period on record, including the peak years of Ellis Island traffic, when millions of Europeans came to the United States. Even after taking into account today's larger U.S. population, the recent surge is the most rapid since at least 1850. New York Times, December 11th. Why? Why? Has Biden ever explained it? No. Not one time. Why? And with all of the horror that we have experienced as a nation because of it, again, when he leaves, happy day. And just the facts, 60% of the migrants that are in the USA now are here illegally, according to a Goldman Sachs study. All right? America's foreign-born population, 15%. Highest number ever, up from 13% in 2020. You see the damage this guy has done, Biden. Now, it's not bad to have immigrants here. We all know that's a good thing because they work very hard and they contribute. But unsupervised, that's when you have crime and terrorism. So anyway, New York Times finally gets it. Okay, drone hysteria. I live right off the Long Island Sound, and there's a drone. Okay? And everybody going, what's that? And then in Jersey, there are scores of them just floating around. Nobody knows. FAA, Governor of New Jersey, I don't know. And so the media jumps in. Oh, it's Iran. It's China. It's not any of that. I remember when I was 6 years old, I went to the Westbury movie theater in Long Island. I saw Invaders from Mars. Scared the bejesus out of me. So this guy comes down from Mars, got a giant head, no body. They have him in a jar, and he hypnotizes people. That's what I think this is. I think this is Invaders from Mars 2. Now, I'm laughing about it, but there's something behind it. So let's get it. Take those drones down, look at them, trace it back. Is that hard? And the media is just out of their minds about this. Okay, I got a lot of mail on this Luigi Mangione, why he has not been charged with first-degree murder in New York City for the assassination of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. You remember the story, December 4th. Okay, it is a technical thing. So in New York State, there's no difference between first-degree murder and second-degree murder as far as sentencing is concerned. You can get life without parole. They classify it first-degree murder when you kill a judge, a cop, a state official, and an act of terrorism, something like that. It's just a paper thing. So Luigi Mangione will never see the light of freedom again. 26 years old, this nut, and he is a nut. All right, he's mentally ill. If you saw him in Pennsylvania being taken into custody, you got to know that. In fact, every single assassin that I've ever written about, and there's 4 of them in Confronting the Presidents, and then there are a couple of would-be assassins, they've all been mentally ill. Because you're basically throwing your life away. And then, the ancillary things about, healthcare, insurance companies are the devil, blah, 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 blah. the far left, as we talked about yesterday, is exploiting that. We know that. But this is the truth. The TikTok idiots who are justifying this assassination, they're as mentally ill as the assassins. And they never would have been heard from 10 years ago. But now they get a forum. And now the media takes that and runs wild with it. There aren't many of those people. Most Americans know this is not acceptable. And this guy never should be free again. And that's the truth. San Diego Sheriff. Now, that's an interesting story. Kelly Martinez, been with the San Diego Police Department, Sheriff's Department, 39 years. She's the chief. She says, hey, we're not obeying the county supervisors saying that we shouldn't cooperate with Homeland Security. We're not. The Sheriff's Department of San Diego is going to cooperate with ICE. We don't care what the county commissioners say. Good for you, Sheriff. I'm going to try to get her on next week. So we reported yesterday, county commissioners are loons. All right, far left people. Oh, we're not going to cooperate with the criminal investigations, not just regular migrants. These are criminals. We're not giving ICE anything. Sheriff said, yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. Now, it'll be interesting to see what the San Diego Police Department does. So the sheriff covers the county, and this is a county thing. But we're on it. And again, I'll reiterate, any public official that interferes with the federal investigation should be arrested. By now, you have heard me talk about Delta Rescue. They are a fantastic organization that helps rescue animals from the wilderness. You know, I'm a dog lover, so is Leo Grillo, the founder of Delta Rescue. It is his life's mission to provide everlasting care for these once abandoned animals. I myself have donated to Delta Rescue. Do you believe it is part of man's duty to care for dogs and horses, the animals that so much of our history is tied to? If so, please consider making a donation or consult your advisor about leaving a gift in your will or trust. There can be some tax advantages, and it's a great way to help Delta Rescue accomplish their mission. So please visit deltarescue.org to learn more. That's deltarescue.org. Let's go to RFK Jr. So the update is that he is going to make his case in front of the Senate shortly after the first of the year, according to the finance chairman, Mike Crapo from Idaho. He's not going to make it. He's not going to make it. And I'll tell you why. Two reasons. The conspiracy stuff, if you research RFK Jr. and the senators will, is crazy. I mean, he has rejected the science that HIV causes AIDS. He's pushed, or at least he has considered the idea that coronavirus was targeted at non-Jews and Chinese, that non-Jews and non-Chinese people were the targets of the coronavirus. And I can tell you from my research in the Kennedy books that RFK is out there. I've always had a decent relationship with him. There's no way I'd vote to confirm him as department head for Health and Human Services. And then there's abortion, because many of the Republican senators don't want unlimited abortion, and JFK Jr. does. His quote is, "I don't trust the government to make decisions for Americans," and that mothers make the best decisions. Well, some mothers make the best decisions. Others panic and then abort their children very late in term. And you're basically saying those unborn, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th month, no protections. Republican senators aren't going to go for that. So I don't think he's going to make it. Could be wrong. We'll see. You know, if I'm wrong, then if I'm wrong, then I'm going to have to say I'm wrong. All right. I don't know Hegseth, you know, it backs and forth. The media doesn't report him accurately. If I were in the Senate, I would give him a fair hearing, but he'd have to convince me that he has the knowledge to run the biggest corporation in the world, which is the Pentagon. And he doesn't have any experience doing that. Now, you can make a case that Donald Trump had no experience in the federal government, and I think his term was good for the first term, generally speaking. Make that case. So I think you got to give Hegseth a hearing, a fair hearing. Smart life. All right, Christmas Eve, as I mentioned, 1 week from today. Favorite time for me. So what I've done over the years, it's almost like a tradition, very personal tradition, is that I take about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours at night, Christmas Eve night, and I just ride around. I know it's against global warming and all that. I don't do any parties or any lavish stuff on Christmas Eve. It's more of a quiet time. And when my children were younger, I said, hey, let's go. We're going to go and take a ride with Dad, and we're going to play Christmas music on the radio and look at all the lights. Because here on Long Island, we have decorative homes everywhere, and it's fun. It's fun to do that. I could never get these urchins in the car. There's no way they're looking at me like, what? I said, yeah, when I was a kid, I used to do this. My father just, and they just go, no. And I didn't force them to go, but I couldn't get anybody to go. But I go. And I just kind of drive around, listen to the nice music, look at the decorative homes. And then I go into some of these wooded areas. You know, if it's not too cold, I'll take a walk. I just want little solitary peace, just for a little while. You know, it's not the whole night. I try to watch Christmas Carol with Alastair Sim, and a very alert viewer pointed out that wasn't the original. I think I said it was. Reginald Owen, the British actor, was the original, but Sim is the best as Scrooge. That's really good. I try to watch that. And then I have a book, Washington Irving, that's Rip Van Winkle, that's Sleepy Hollow. He wrote great stories about Christmas in colonial times, and I like to do that. So for me, it's basically a contemplative day, Christmas Eve, beginning when the sun goes down, which here on Long Island, about 4:30 now. And is Trump gonna do away with daylight saving time completely? Is that what he wants? It's good, the clock's turning back, it's crazy. But anyway, that's my Smart Life segment to you. If you can just take a little time for yourself and just kind of make a walk or, you know, think about, and it doesn't have to be a religious thing. We do go to Mass. Usually go to midnight Mass. Now many of the churches have 10 p.m. Mass because people were nodding out during the sermon at midnight Mass. So they moved it up to 10. I like to go around 4 or 5, the earliest Mass. I don't know why, but that works in to my tableau. Smart life. Have a great, week or so coming up. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.